Late-night TV has always been about comedy, laughs, and lighthearted jokes. But for Jimmy Kimmel, it's become a battlefield. After Disney abruptly suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live, for nearly a week, the internet exploded with speculation. Former President Donald Trump and FCC Chair Brendan Carr immediately blamed Kimmel's ratings, calling him a whack job who had lost touch with his audience. But tonight we dive deeper, because according to a new insider source, ratings were not the reason for Kimmel's suspension. The real story? A behind-the-scenes clash over a monologue ABC never allowed to air. And the fallout could change Kimmel's career forever. Jimmy Kimmel has been a fixture of late-night television since 2003. Over the years, he's gone from quirky funny man to one of the most politically outspoken hosts on TV, from emotional monologues about gun violence to tearful moments discussing healthcare and even taking on Donald Trump head-on. Kimmel has built a reputation as one of the few late-night hosts unafraid to cross into political territory, but with that reputation has also come enemies. For years, conservatives, and especially Donald Trump, have targeted Kimmel, calling for his removal from ABC. And then it happened. 6 days ago, Disney, ABC's parent company, suddenly pulled the plug on Jimmy Kimmel Live, with no warning. The timing was explosive. The country was already reeling from a politically charged tragedy. The murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, and Kimmel had just addressed it on air. By Wednesday, his show was gone. The internet was on fire. What happened? As speculation grew, Donald Trump himself chimed in, celebrating Kimmel's suspension as proof that his critics had finally been silenced. Jimmy Kimmel was suspended because of his ratings, Trump told reporters, calling him a whack job. FCC Chair Brendan Carr backed the claim, saying Kimmel had lost viewers and network confidence. But here's the twist. According to a source close to Entertainment Tonight, ratings had nothing to do with Kimmel's suspension. Instead, the real reason lay in a monologue the audience never saw. One that ABC executives feared would only inflame tensions. During an already fragile moment in the country, this monologue, we're told, directly addressed the Charlie Kirk tragedy and pushed back at critics who accused Kimmel of misrepresenting his comments. Kimmel, true to form, refused to change his words. He stood his ground. Disney, desperate to avoid backlash, made a shocking move. They shut down the show completely. That's right. The suspension wasn't about ratings, it wasn't about performance. It was about silencing a host who refused to back down. The reaction was immediate. Fans on social media accused Disney of caving to political pressure, calling the suspension an attack on free speech. Hashtags like Squawk, Stand with Kimmel, and Disney Boycott began trending. Meanwhile, critics cheered the suspension with right-wing voices, celebrating what they saw as Kimmel's downfall. Even Trump, never one to miss the spotlight, piled on. He mocked Kimmel's talent, saying, quote, "You know what suspended him? His talent. You know what else? His ratings." But inside Hollywood, the mood was different. Many fellow late-night hosts privately expressed concern, whispering about what it meant if one of their own could be pulled off the air for refusing to edit his words. Insiders told ET that Kimmel's colleagues were shaken. Was this just a one-off decision or a warning to all late-night voices? What the public didn't know, until now, is that on Thursday, Jimmy Kimmel was spotted entering his lawyer's office in Los Angeles. There, he sat down with Disney and ABC executives to negotiate. According to the source, the sticking point wasn't the future of the show, but that never-aired Wednesday monologue. Kimmel insisted it should have been broadcast, Disney refused, and tensions rose. Executives described the segment as ill-timed and insensitive, worried it could spark outrage during a delicate national moment. But Kimmel saw it differently. He believed pulling the monologue would let critics define his words, painting him in a false light. By Monday, both sides finally agreed Jimmy Kimmel would return Tuesday, but the damage was already done. The question remained, had this public suspension fractured the relationship between Kimmel and ABC beyond repair? Media analysts are already weighing in. Some believe Disney was right, arguing that late-night comedy must tread carefully during times of national tragedy. They say Disney's move sets a dangerous precedent. If networks silence their hosts whenever politics get heated, what's left of late-night TV? One industry insider asked. Political commentators also weighed in. To conservatives, the suspension was proof that Kimmel's days were numbered. To liberals, it was yet another example of corporate America bending to political pressure. One thing is clear, In today's media climate, the lines between comedy, commentary, and controversy are blurrier than ever. For Jimmy Kimmel, this could mark a turning point. His current contract with ABC runs through 2026, but insiders say he's closer to the end of his late-night run than the beginning. Could this be the incident that pushes him out for good? For ABC, the suspension has raised questions about loyalty. Can Kimmel trust the network after being publicly sidelined? And will audiences continue to trust Disney if they believe politics dictate programming decisions? And for late-night television as a whole, the pressure has never been higher. In an era of viral clips and 24-hour political warfare, hosts walk a razor's edge. Say too little and you fade into irrelevance. Say too much and you risk being silenced. Kimmel's suspension may just be a glimpse of what's to come. This isn't the first time a late-night host has clashed with their network. Think back to David Letterman, whose scandals nearly ended his career, or Conan O'Brien, who lost The Tonight Show in one of TV's most infamous shakeups. Even Bill Maher was once fired for controversial remarks after 9/11, but Jimmy Kimmel's case feels different. This wasn't about scandal or ratings or even advertiser pressure. This was about speech, words written for a monologue that never made it to air. And that difference could make all the impact in how history remembers this moment. As Jimmy Kimmel steps back onto the late-night stage this Tuesday, the spotlight will burn brighter than ever. Viewers will be watching not just for laughs, but for signs of whether he's been muzzled, whether he's changed, or whether he'll once again prove that late-night comedy can still pack a political punch. One thing is certain: the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel has exposed the fragile balance between entertainment, politics, and power in America. And the fallout is only just beginning.
For full video, click related link below or like and subscribe this channel.